Morning, everyone. It's a wonderfully cold day here in Brooklyn, New York. We're expecting a storm. It says it's bringing rain and ice, but you never know, that ice may turn into snow. And yeah, there were parts of Brooklyn who've seen snow before. As far as I can tell, not my part of Brooklyn. I'm talking about this year. So this will be really nice. I'm feeling so wonderful today. I got really sick last night because I decided to have an Italian sandwich for dinner. Provolone cheese, Genoa salami, and sweet sopressata. Halfway through the sandwich, I started feeling awful. So I'm like, okay, let me take a nap and I'll wake up and then I'll finish my sandwich. And, you know, when I woke up, my entire body, I just felt so sick and I started vomiting. I had a slight fever. Oh, it was horrible. And then I woke up this morning. Wonderful. No pain, no feeling sick, no nothing. So, anyway, scrolling through YouTube, I came across this video, which I'm also going to talk about another video. You've heard of furries? Well, it gets worse. Maps. MAPS. Now, there's a guy here on YouTube. His name is Armando Black. A woman he works with, I don't know if he works with her offline, but he worked with her online, and she said there were going to be new letters. And she said this like 2 years ago, and she said very soon there's going to be new letters added to the LGBTQ community to represent pedophiles. This is where the MAPS comes in. And we'll find out after this video. This video is titled Father Posts Son's Shocking Reaction to School Sexual Identity Survey. Why does anyone want to know what a sixth grader identifies as? To make sure the school's brainwashing is taking effect? A lot of kids in sixth grade haven't gone through puberty. Some have, some haven't. And this is the Democrats and the elites pushing this. And within the elites, I'm sure there are some Republicans. There are definitely liberals. And this is just insane. They call it a health survey. But this is just another way school is brainwashing our kids. I saw a video where, again, sixth grade kids were put in a room, and on the stage, there was like, I don't know, 6 to 8 people who walked on stage, or the stage they had set up, naked. The kids were turning their heads, they felt uncomfortable. They were encouraged to look at the different body types, claiming to show that the human body is beautiful. One little girl who was interviewed at the end of it said at first she felt very awkward looking at these naked people, men and women. But by the end, it just seemed normal, almost like they had clothes on. It was normal. That is not normal. You want to teach body positivity, fine. You don't you don't have adults naked in front of kids and telling kids, "Oh, it's okay." At the end of that, that little girl felt like it was normal. What might they have taken that further to that she might feel is normal? Oh, here, you could touch a penis. Oh, here, you could touch a woman's pubic area. You could touch her breasts. You can touch an asshole. You could. How far would they have taken it? And they're still trying to get our kids. Let's watch.
God bless this father. He's raising an amazing young man.
What do you got there? What is it?
The Oregon Health Authority has sent me a paper, and it says Oregon Health Authority. Demographics, gender identity, and sexual orientation.
Huh.
What is your gender identity? What is your gender identity? You can choose more than one.
Okay. You want to read them off?
There's too many.
How many should there be?
Not two. Girl or woman.
Okay.
Boy or man.
Okay, which one do you identify with? Which
I
one
identify
are
as
you?
a man.
Yeah, that's right. It's not necessarily identify, but what are you?
Oh, I'm a boy.
Very good.
Demi girl or demi boy.
What is that?
A non-binary. Gender.
I want to know, what is demi girl or demi boy? I'm 54 years old. I don't know what that is. A demigirl is someone who partially identifies as a girl or woman, while a demi boy is someone who partially identifies as a boy or man. The other part of their gender identity can be something else, such as being non binary, agender, or another gender. And this applies regardless of their assigned gender at birth. Demi girl and demi boy identities fall under the umbrella of non binary and transgender identities. I'm 54 years old and I just had to look that up. Why is that being taught to our kids? And it's also being celebrated in school. And of course, like when we grew up, we did our work, we got a gold star. That was a celebration. We wanted those stars. Kids are going to want these celebrations, the attention, and the elites and the Democrats know this. Now, again, the elites, there are Republicans in it too, conservatives. you've got everything in the elites, but it's mostly Democrats. Gender fluid. Why are you teaching sixth graders this? They're 12. Prepubescent, some of them have gone through puberty. Why are you getting them this early? To mess up their heads so the Democrats and the elites have a wide variety of kids to choose from. It's not right.
Fluid,
No, I don't know.
gender queer.
Do you know what those are?
I don't want to know.
Okay, good.
Okay. Gender queer. What is gender queer? Gender queer is an identity for people whose gender does not align with the traditional binary of man or woman. It is an umbrella term for identities that can include identifying as multiple genders, no gender, or a gender that changes over time. People who are genderqueer may also use other terms such as non binary, gender fluid, or agender, and have different gender expressions and pronouns. Now, agender was mentioned. What is that? Gender refers to the thing fucking spaced. Agender, denoting or relating to a person who does not identifying as having a gender. Why are you teaching our kids this? This is insane.
Good. Good.
Questioning agender or no gender. Show 2020 to 2025 only if I identify as Native American, blah, 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 blah.
Okay, so how many are there? Like 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
2, 3,
6.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
The only thing I'm questioning is my choices of women.
There's more. If any of the following selected cannot select any other response. I am not sure of my gender identity.
Oh my God, are you kidding?
I don't know what this question is asking, or I prefer not to say. Are you transgender? Yes, no, I am not sure. I don't know what this question is asking, or I prefer not to say.
What do you want to do with that thing?
That's amazing. Now, please listen.
If a kid says they're not sure, these degenerates will try to make them sure. And sure in their way, so they have more of a selection. This is truly insane.
My name is Chuck Gonzalez. I'm an Oregon resident and father of 3 boys that are here in the Oregon school district, specifically the Hillsborough School District. I was made aware of this survey somehow online. I might have got it through an email, but it was a survey that is asking our children, grades 6th, 8th, and 11th grade, issued by the Oregon Health Authority. And the survey, it asks a lot of things, a lot of really confusing things to 6th graders. And one of those is it discusses and asks about their gender and sexual identity. So when I heard about this, I went to the website, downloaded the PDF form, and sure enough, it was just right there. And it asked, what is your sexual identity? Boy, girl, man, woman, transgender, I don't know, pansexual, asexual,
straight,
just all of
lesbian.
these different things, including I don't know what I am, I'm not sure what I am. So I read through the survey. I wanted to understand it as best as I could. And then I contacted my school and said, do not give this to my son. The video that I had made of giving this the first time to my son that he had read online on a video, that was the video that kind of just really shocked him. And we got to see kind of his raw, full reaction of, why is my school asking me these questions as a sixth grader, to which he didn't even have the answers to. When I had heard of this survey, none of the parents that I had spoken with or comments online had heard anything about it. And of course, plenty of people thought that it was.
And that's the thing. A lot of parents don't know about it. And then people condemn the parents saying, well, you should know about it. Schools do shit very sneakily. Sorry, my alarm. It's time for me to get up. But schools do a lot of shit on the sneak. And even if you opt out of something, they might still slip it in and say, oh, well, we weren't notified. The parents never notified us. The parents could have a notarized statement, videotape of giving it to the school and the teacher, and you can hear it on audio. I'm opting my kid out of this. They will still sit there and say, oh, well, we didn't know. Meanwhile, the kid's already been taught it. I'm telling you, these people are degenerates. And it just gets worse every year, every day, every second.
Completely made up and ridiculous. But when it actually came out, when I posted the link, and I had parents private messaging me to send them the link to the survey so they could opt out. And this was about 3 weeks ago that we actually got the survey. And so I immediately called the school and I said, do not give my son this survey. They sent home an opt-out form to his mother. She filled out the opt-out form and he didn't take the survey.
You see what just happened there? The father said no. They sent the opt-out form to the mother, thinking the mother didn't know anything about it and wouldn't do it. Like a child, oh, if mommy says no, daddy will say yes. If daddy says no, mommy will say yes. The father said no, but they sent the form to the mother. Slick.
No right to step on the values that we have as Christians, and they certainly have no right to step into, whatever kind of sexual values that a child doesn't even have.
Yeah.
They're projecting their own ideologies on our children. So, I mean, yes, it's infuriating as a Christian and as a Catholic, but just simply as a parent and standing up for what is good based on what is clearly evil in this case. I got upset because it's not as if this problem is getting any better. This problem is getting worse of why are our schools asking a sixth grader about their sexual identity? And if you ask the Democrats and the progressives of this state here in Oregon, they're going to tell you that it's because the government's responsibility is to offer services and protection to children who cannot discuss those issues at home or who feel that they're oppressed and they don't have any support. So, of course, the state of Oregon has to be able to support these children away from their parents. And that's just such a far overreach. It's infuriating that the government, the state of Oregon, and these liberal progressives down in Salem can think that they can go into the bedrooms of our children.
I mean, it's gotten so crazy that years ago, someone named, I believe, Rachel Maddow had said when you want to change your child's diaper, you should ask them permission first. And what if the child is old enough to say no? You're going to leave them in a soiled diaper until they decide they want you to change their diaper? But yet, they want to make it a thing that you don't ask kids permission to touch them. Do you see how crazy this is? Now, I actually looked up what a furry is. Now, we all first heard about furries with this assassination of Charlie Kirk. The alleged assassin's boyfriend is a furry. What that is, a furry is someone with a strong interest in, goddamn these words, anthropomorphic animals, often creating and adopting an animal persona called a fursona to represent themselves. The furry community is diverse and global, with a focus on art, creativity, and community. What do animals do that people do? They have sex. But they make it seem like this altruistic state of being. Furries may create art, share digital art of their personas on platforms like DeviantArt and YouTube. Wear costumes, purchase costume elements like ears or tails or a full fursuit to embody their persona. Socialize, attend furry conventions and meetups, or connect online through chat rooms, Reddit, and furry-specific apps. Identify differently, see themselves as other than human, or desire to be more like their fursona. Feel spiritually connected, believe they have an emotional or spiritual connection with real, fictional, or symbolic animals. It's gone too far. There is actually a guy who spent thousands and thousands of dollars to be turned into a dog. I'm not kidding. Plastic surgeries on his bones, everything. Within a year of it being completed, he wanted to be human again. Look at the human Ken doll. There is a guy who went through so many surgeries to look like a Ken doll, which he didn't. He looked like an alien from outer space. Then he decided he wanted to look like a Barbie doll. So he was going through surgeries for that. First he was heterosexual, then he was homosexual, then he was non-binary. These are mental conditions. These are in adults, and they're pushing it on kids. They want to normalize it on kids. This isn't normal.
And ask them about things they had no clue about. My son
Evil.
had no idea what any
Very
of this meant,
evil.
but he knew that it was weird and sick and gross. Parents, don't be afraid to go to your city council meetings, to go to your school district meetings, but also don't blow your gasket. The way that we are going to win is for us to stay in control of our own thoughts, our own words, and our own emotions. So if you're going to go,
Which they're trying to take that away from us. Remember with the COVID shot? People who didn't want to take it were fired from their jobs, kicked out of the military, all because they didn't want to take an untested vaccine. And look at all the other crap that's gone on. If you support MAGA, if you're a conservative, you're evil. Christians are being brutalized all over the world once again for their beliefs. Oh, but the Muslim beliefs of fucking a 9-year-old, and there are Muslims who are bitching they cannot marry 5-year-olds. They want the age lowered again. What's going to be the next thing? They want to fuck a newborn? But that's allowed. That's okay. Christian values are wrong. Teaching that you work for what you get is wrong. Eventually, it's going to come to a point where teaching our kids you have the right to say no to being touched isn't going to be allowed. A guy named Tommy Sotomayor said at one point it's going to become bad if you don't want to date and fuck a transgender. And he was talking about a video of a rapper who was doing an interview somewhere. It wasn't here in America. And a transgender tried to kiss him on the mouth and he pushed the person away. Not violently, just by saying, no, no, no. They condemned him for it. This was someone who was looking and acting like a woman, who was actually a man, tried to force another man to kiss them, and the man was kind of canceled because he dared to say no. Well, it's not fair to us that guys won't date us just because we have a penis. Well, just like you're making a choice, you want to be a woman and go out with men, they're making a choice. They only want to be with women. Oh, but that's not allowed. Now they're pushing this kind of shit on our kids.
you're going to go to fight the right way. You fight with the laws that we currently have in place. You fight with your catechism of the church. You fight
Yes.
with your intelligence rather than just fighting with your voice. Fight with your head.
Yeah.
Because changing these laws, getting these people completely out of office and putting the right people in there, that is the correct way to do it. That's
Yes.
the right thing to do.
What a mess, man. And God bless this father for standing up for common sense. You have to be involved in your child's education. It's crazy what's happening out there. These Democrats, leftists have lost their mind. What do you mean going around asking sixth graders about sexual orientation? What? Evil is real. You let me know what you think about this in the comment section. God bless you and your
Okay, that's one video. Now we're going to go to the maps video. sorry, it's an ad. The ad is 50 minutes long and it's not giving me the option to skip. Tra la 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 la. It's almost over. Okay, now this is a video from Anton Daniels. I've been watching him for like a year. He's great. Let me share him to the screen. Now, this is about MAPS. And what MAPS stands for is minor attracted persons. Let's see, what is a MAPS person? The term MAPS person does not have a standard or recognized meaning in English. It may be a misspelling or misunderstanding of a different term, possibly related to pedophilia or minor attracted person. They're trying to ease it in by saying it may be a misspelling. Well, then why is it clarified as minor attracted person? If it was a search for those topics, however, a direct search for MAPS person does not yield a clear definition. Pedophilia, a psychological disorder involving a romantic and/or sexual attraction to prepubescent children. That's why I keep saying the idiots in this sector of YouTube, they use pedophilia for 17-year-olds. The women try to do it for 18 and 19-year-olds because they're jealous of the fact men want younger women than what they are. And minor attracted person, a broader term that can refer to individuals who are sexually or romantically attracted to minors. Now, this is from the National Institute of Health. Although it originated within online pro-pedophile groups, the term minor attracted person, MAPS, has been adopted by some academic researchers as a neutral and non-stigmatizing alternative to the term pedophile. They're trying to make it okay to fuck little kids. The transferal of this term from pedophile advocates to academic scholarship has been highly controversial. Claims that the use of the term minor attracted people normalizes or endorses pedophilia deserve closer scrutiny. Yes, it does. This paper is based on rapid evidence review of all peer-reviewed papers between 2015 and 2023 that use variants of the term minor attracted in their title and or abstract. After screening 30 studies were identified for review, our analysis took a thematic approach to understanding the construction and the use of the term maps in this scholarship. The analysis found that the term maps was operationalized in different and contradictory ways. However, the literature broadly agreed that maps constitutes an oppressed sexual minority who are subject to undue stigmatization and discrimination. So it shows they don't like being called a pedophile because that's a nasty word. Well, you fucking a kid is nasty. This isn't a joke. This is going on.
Oh, and if you think the transgender movement is bad, there is an entire organization called MAPS, which stands for Minor Attracted People. And I actually think that once the transgender movement, God forbid it ever becomes normalized, that's what's coming next. I first heard about this during a women's conference I went to, and she was talking, I forget what she said about it, but I just remember hearing about it and being absolutely disgusted that the people that freaking founded this actually are trying to normalize minor attracted people.
Yep.
And then I looked into the organization, like literally a couple weeks ago, and found out that the founder of it is a registered sex offender. And then the other founder is a freaking social worker. These two people got together and they made this freaking maps.
A social worker. On CBS 2 News here in New York a few years ago, a social worker in charge of kids who were in the system, who they couldn't find foster homes for, put them in hotels. A 14-year-old girl called her social worker and said, "I'm hungry. I have no food. I have no money." The social worker met her on the street, of course, in the street, thinking nobody was going to hear the conversation. But the little girl was smart enough to record it on her phone. Now, don't ask me why the little girl had a cell phone and no money for food, but she did. And the social worker told her to start sucking dick, give blowjobs, and charge for them. That's how she'd get herself money. So MAPS, the organization, is headed by a pedophile and a social worker. This is not a joke. It is not a lie. They are trying to normalize pedophilia, which means if a guy or a woman on the street wants to touch your child, that's going to be normalized too. And don't tell me I'm exaggerating. People thought people being gay was an exaggeration and it wasn't going to become the norm. Non-binary was a fad, wasn't going to become the norm. So many things were said were going to be a fad and not the norm, and look what's happened. Oh, well, too many people don't approve of screwing a child, so it's not going to happen. Muslims are trying to take over. Don't tell me this can't happen. You have some places here in America where if a Muslim rapes a 9-year-old child, they don't know the child, they just grab the child and rape them. They're allowed to get away with it because it's part of their religion. And here in America, we have freedom of religion. Think about all the things we thought were impossible and never were going to come true. And now it's kind of the norm. Think about it. All those extremes to the point where you can choose your child's sex on a birth certificate, you can choose your own sex on a passport. Look what they're pushing for now.
Organization trying to normalize pedophilia. Gagged. No words. I genuinely think this is what's going to come after the transgender movement, and don't say I didn't warn you, because I think the transgender movement is so effing insane. But you also have to think, if you think something is so insane, something even crazier is coming after that. What's crazier than transgenderism? Minor attracted people. Can't think of anything else that would top transgenderism.
Yeah, and I've actually heard of this. I haven't heard of the name. I didn't know that they actually had a label for it. And so this is the first time that I actually have heard the label and the acronym. So if you hear somebody say, I'm a part of MAPS, you might have to dig a little bit deeper, because that might not mean that they're trying to figure out how to geographically locate something else and that they are part of Google's team to map the entire country. It might mean that they are a minor attracted person. And so I always thought that this was the final play, that this and animals was the final play. And now I'm starting to see a
Furries. If you identify as an animal, you identify as everything an animal does.
proliferation of it, and content, social media are pushing for it. I've always seen, I remember that it was a legislation that was brought up and it received so much backlash that I guess it just kind of went away into the oblivion. But I remember seeing legislation and conversations around people not being able to control who or what they were attracted to. And so how that worked with it was this. So if you can't control, right? Because they saying that when according to the alphabet community, you can't control that if you're a man attracted to a man or you're a woman attracted to a woman, that's the way you were born. Then why wouldn't the same logic apply to minor attracted persons, people that like kids or people that are attracted to animals? If you are whatever it is that you deem yourself to be, then they were pitching that they needed a safe space to be able to express that instead of change it because it wasn't right. They felt like it was right. And this is the danger of going down this pathway where you have people that are changing the definition of words to fit their narrative, men going in women's bathrooms, normalizing calling somebody a woman, even though they are biologically born male, and vice.
All these things were said would never come to pass. You don't think they're pushing for this to come to pass? Oh, well, this won't happen. Neither will men in women's bathrooms, men in women's prisons. And it's happened.
Versa. And I'm even starting to see a lot of people that are detransitioning because they regret the fact that they changed over into being something that they wasn't. And so maybe this is the final boss, maybe this is the final form. I don't know, but it's disgusting if you ask me.
This is a message to all the parents, so please listen up, and also to all the minors that are on TikTok. Please, if you guys see the following flag on your profile, following you, commenting, whatever, right? Or if you see it on your children's profiles, block them. This is a flag for girls who have now decided that they need to use a better term, a less harsher term.
Exactly, which means they can follow your kids, they can be a predator to your kids, and it's all okay because you have to humanize them because they're human. They need safe spaces where they can practice their love. But people who warned of this coming were told they were crazy.
To define them, and they now refer to themselves as MAPS, which is a minor attracted persons. So people attracted to children, pedophiles. So kindly, please protect your children, and if you see any of these flags on their profiles, block.
Well, I don't think it's going to change anything because we normalized people hijacking a flag that was supposed to be a covenant between man and God, that he would never flood the earth again. And they changed that and reversed it and remixed it, flipped it around. And now I see it hanging outside of churches. So what used to be is no more. And the more that they normalize it, the more regularly they're going to embrace it as being a part of whatever it is, a culture that they love and that they adore and that they think makes the most sense to them. And so I am just.
And I've heard people say, and I've even said it about gay people and whatever, as long as they're an adult, let them do what they want. But we're talking about kids. Now, kids, even though it was for a little while, things are changing, they can easily change back. Kids were allowed to choose whether they were male or female. Take hormones, get the operation, get whatever. If a kid decides they want to be with an adult, not even realizing what sex is, they're going to allow it. Are you going to allow your child for that? Are you going to let a MAP person in your house, and when they say, "Oh, I'm attracted to your child," you going to allow that? It's like the more you allow, the more people take advantage of it.
Searing this in my head because I am vigilant. I will never give in to this nonsense. I will never be a part of this foolishness and normalizing anything. What's normal is men and women being married in a relationship, raising children in a two-parent household. Now, you may step outside of that, and I respect your right to do whatever it is that you want to do inside of your bedroom as long as it's legal and it's not with a minor. However, I don't have to embrace it. I don't have to champion it. I don't have to normalize it. It doesn't have to be anything that I think makes sense. And you're never going to, and I mean never, under no.
And look, transgenders and people who identify as opposite of their sex, they get threatening and terroristic. You go to someone and you say, "Yes, sir." "I'm not a sir, I'm a ma'am." We've seen videos all over the place where they're getting violent. Now, over the phone, people have called me sir. All I say is, "I'm not a sir, I'm a man, I'm a woman." And they're like, "Oh, okay." That's it. It's not something to go off screaming about, threatening, trying to hurt someone over. "Oh, well, I act like a woman." If you have to act like a woman, you are not a woman. So all these transgenders, even the women who are trying to become men, you are not. And we've allowed this shit to go on to where it's no longer just a small percentage of people who are doing this. It's a ton now. And look how far it's going. There was a video out a couple of years ago, a gay man's choir singing about how they're coming for your children. Everybody said that was satire, it wasn't real. Now we got MAPS. You have to humanize pedophiles. And I don't want to hear, well, most pedophiles were preyed on as children. So what? We have to allow them to prey on children when they're adults? This is insanity.
No circumstance. You're never, ever going to convince me. And I know that it's a lot of deviant behavior, people and activity that's running around in the streets today. Under no circumstance will you ever convince me that that is normal. And I do think that everything that we're opening ourselves up to is a gateway to foolishness.
Yeah.
And we do not have to support it. We do not have to rock with it. You don't have to pick and choose. You can just completely divest yourself from this nonsense because it is not right. It is not normal. It is not something that you should even be paying attention to and looking at to be normal.
Block, report. Please. The internet has become a very filthy place, and it has now allowed these pedophiles to
You see these symbols right here? I really need you to look at them and just absorb them into your brain. Reason being, these are symbols that are currently and actively being used by the MAP community, or as we all would much rather call them, the community. I've made videos about these symbols before, and you can find those in the playlist below. But a lot of times I have people questioning whether or not this is real or if, these are actually used. And I've given examples before, but this one just kind of tops the cake. So first things first, what do each one of these symbols mean? I'm gonna put them up on the screen now because I'm too afraid that this video will be taken down if I just say it out loud. But what you're looking at right now is what each of these symbols mean. Some of these symbols have been around.
Let me back this up real quick. Child love. BL logo is little boy love. GL is little girl love. And I don't know what this other one is. NB. NB meaning attracted to non-binary. Jesus Christ. This is sad. This is bad. We just basically opened up Pandora's box and we just going to hell in a handbasket at this point.
Yep. But what you're looking at right now is what each of these symbols mean. Some of these symbols have been around for a very long time, but more recently they have started to push some different symbols meaning different things, as well as a flag. What's most concerning about the flag is the flag is very close in appearance to the LGBTQ plus flag. And just a heads up, these two communities are in no way together. So if I see any kind of nonsense in my comment section, you're gone. Deleted,
blocked. I disagree because the first one was the gateway to opening up the second one, which is why the flag looks so similarly to the first one.
No questions. Anyways, back to why this video is being made. So it's important for you to know what these symbols look like because you actually might be seeing them pop up pretty soon all around you, because there are new shops coming up like this one, created and ran by a self-proclaimed MAP / that is selling products.
That's all we need to know. We got it. We got the whole gist.
And it doesn't have to be a gateway. You're gay, you're two consenting adults, whatever. You're into menage a trois. You're consenting adults. It doesn't have to go to pedophilia. But I even saw a seminar once online where they were promoting this pedophilia. You gotta stop it. It's gonna come to the point, if someone breaks into your house and rapes your child, it's going to wind up being, oh, well, that's just who they are. You got to let them get away with it. How many Muslim men have been let out of jail because they raped a child, a little girl, but that's part of their religion? And people want Muslims here? It's okay to rape and defile a child? Come on. You're going to wind up having a lot of these MAP people turning Muslim so they can do this bullshit.
Of it. Always like to link back to the content creator. This is just nasty. This is just nasty. It's evil. Only reason I decided to react to this is because I want people to be aware of what's going on. I don't want you to bury your head in the sand and say that you didn't know. You know, you're aware, and when you see it happen and when you see it play it out, if and when it plays out, remember where you learned it so that you can be aware of what's going on. And we just got to remain vigilant. We got to remain on top of things. Let me know what you think inside of the comments. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. T Genly 4.
This crap has to stop. It's not right. It's not. Everything is forced until it becomes normal. Stop the forcing.